Hello and welcome back to Bible Wits Bible Corner. Today I'm going to read two different passages. One's going to be in the New Testament and the other one's going to be in the Old Testament. We're going to start in Revelation chapter 22 and I'm going to read verses 18 and 19 starting with the English Standard Version. I warn everyone who hears the words of the prophecy of this book. If anyone adds to them, God will add to him the plague described in this book. And if anyone takes away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God will take away his share in the tree of life and in the holy city which are described in this book. Alright, now we're going to go clear back into the Old Testament, Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 32. Everything that I command you, you shall be careful to do. You shall not add to it or take from it. All right. Now, New Century Version. I warn everyone who hears the words of the prophecy of this book. If anyone adds anything to these words, God will add to that person the disasters written about in this book. And if anyone takes away from the words of this book of prophecy, God will take away that one's share of the tree of life and of the holy city which are written about in this book. Now, Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 32. Be sure to do everything I have commanded you. Do not add anything to it, and do not take anything away from it. Okay, there's a few other spots that phrase, do not add to or take away from, is found in the Bible. One of those is in Proverbs, and it's also found at least one more time in the book of Deuteronomy. That is something, especially when it's read about in Revelations about what will happen if we either add to or take away from, we need to be very careful of. The 66 books that make up this Bible are what God intended for us to use. Now, I know there's other Bibles out there that have other books, like the Gospel of Judas, the Gospel of Andrew, the books of Maccabees, the books of Enoch. I know there's Bibles out there that have those books. But those were not part of the original 66 that were put together to come up or to make what we now today call the Bible. The 66 that were put together, I firmly believe, are what God intended for us to use, and nothing more, nothing less. Now, this also includes other books that should not be added to the Bible. Books like the Book of Mormon is something that could be considered an addition to. It is not part of the Holy Scriptures that God intended for us to read. There is no proof on that one that it was God talking to someone to write down. We have proof on these books, the miracles that were performed, the cities that they lived in. There's archaeological digs that have shown proof of everything in these 66 books. So, like I said, books like the Book of Mormon are a definite thing that should not be added to the Scriptures. Now, I say all of this to also say we should not take anything away. There's something that I like to say called a recipe. The Bible is not a recipe for us to just pick and choose what we want to use and what we don't want to use. We cannot take a passage out of it and say, well, that one really doesn't fit my life, so I'm just going to ignore that one and just take it away. So we do need to be very careful with adding to and obviously taking away from. And I know I'm repeating myself a lot. Again, the Bible is clear as to what we are supposed to do. I hope you find encouragement in this, and I hope you have a wonderful, God-centered day. Bye.